was a typo. And I'm like, welcome to Comics League Movie Night. I'm Jared. I'm here with Robert. What's up, man?
I've been a bit running around today. That wasn't a pun, but I figured it kind of worked.
Yeah, there you go. So we're talking about The Flash, the DCEU Flash movie, and here's the thing about this movie.
Yep, go ahead.
Is it as horrible as people say it is? I don't think so. Is it the best? No.
God, no. But does the director deserve all the, never have him do another movie again? No.
He does not deserve all of the blame because it's like...
I think Welcome from Dareberry should have already debunked a lot of that.
Yeah, it's... Because here's the thing. Because this movie was in development hell since the Flash TV. Here's the thing: the Flash movie was announced when Flash premiered on the CW.
Yep.
That's how far back this movie has been in development hell.
Yep, exactly. And he came on later, like they were going through directors left and right.
Yeah, like near the end, it was supposed to be much more grounded, and then they started to use this as a reboot. Yes, Cameron, this movie was announced when the Flash first episode aired.
Right, hold on, I'm switching over to my computer. Just
all right, yeah. And NJ says even Wonder Woman 1984 is better than this.
No.
No, I'm going to disagree with you on that one, NJ.
I will strongly disagree with that.
Yeah, exactly. So, with The Flash, that's what you have to understand first, is the context around this movie. Because here's the thing. Because if they had not sunk so much money into this, the movie would have been like... Robert, if they had not sunk so much cash into this movie,
they would have dropped it like Batgirl.
It would have been Batgirl that easily. But here's the other thing, Robert. Here's the other consideration that maybe they wouldn't have, because they needed a movie to reboot the timeline, even though this didn't do it.
Initially, yes, but I think by the time things changed, by the time it got to the point it was at, and if there wasn't that much money into it, they probably would have just sooner dropped it and used it as a reboot.
Yeah, that's true.
When they already had Aquaman still coming out after.
It's like originally, because here's the thing. Originally, also, the Flash was supposed to come out last, after Aquaman. So it's like, what? But anyway.
There's a lot to like about this. In pieces.
We're going to talk about that. Now, the first part that I do genuinely like is a lot of the DCEU parts. Because I liked where like Barry gets a call from Alfred, and he goes, "Good morning, Mr. Allen. There's a disaster, and you call me first." No, I basically called him last. He goes, "Well, what about Diana? Already tried her. Superman. He's dealing with a volcano." I love where people were bashing the movie, and before they were like, "Why is Superman shooting a volcano with heat vision?" I go, "He's diverting the lava flow."
Exactly. He's using heat to be, rather than going with like punching at it, which could risk other issues. He's like cut right through it.
Yeah, exactly. And he's done this in the animated series as well. So let's not forget about that. But so it's an issue at Gotham General Hospital. So Barry enters his suit. Now, I will say some shots of the suit look good. Let me put it this way. When the suit has those highlight lights, those gold lights, that it looks good. And the other thing, because Andy said he would explain the yellow lightning, or like he would have yellow lightning in the movie. And I was wondering how you're going to do that. The suit is a filter, and I'm like, okay, that works. I like that.
I do like that.
That one, and when he was out of the suit, he still had blue lightning. So I'm like, okay, that's a cool way of doing it. And by the way, how did Barry get the new suit? It's explained in the Fastest Man Alive comics.
Yep, which was a pretty good prequel.
I liked it. I liked all of the stories that were included. It was pretty fun. But the other thing is, so people know, this is adapting, basically, in its own way, Flashpoint.
With a lot of stuff cut.
With a lot of, including the
villain.
Well, and like the actual story of Flashpoint, like the Wonder Woman versus Arthur and stuff. Which
it's just the general. It's the Luthor's definition of it.
It's just like, what did Flashpoint do? It rebooted the timeline. Okay, we'll do that. That's basically what it was. But so then we get the scene of Barry running, which I felt that this scene going from Central to Gotham was actually really cool. Very well done.
Yep.
I thought the speed in this was really well done in terms of like.
Now, let's say one thing. You know, one thing that could have fixed at one bit of dialogue. You could have ADR'd it. That could have fixed every problem.
Wait, I think I know what you're talking about. Save that. We're not at that part yet. I know what you're talking about. Right. I know exactly what you're talking about. So he gets there, and then I love the first shot of Batfleck where he's on the bike, and you just see like the cowl as the ramp opens.
Yep.
And then he goes down on the cycle, and then I love where Barry's cleaning up. He goes, you know, I've accepted that I'm the janitor on the Justice League, but I can't help but notice it's always a bat mess I gotta clean up.
Right.
I'm like, okay, that's good. I love that. And at the same time as Barry is trying to help at the hospital, Bruce is chasing down some. So it feels like a Justice League episode is really what it kind of feels like.
It really did, yeah.
And then we get the baby shower scene with the CGI babies. And yeah, this part, the CGI babies look horrible.
Now, I still cannot stand how they basically people reverse the shot to make it look like a woman screaming and he's laughing, putting the baby into the microwave when that's not what happened.
Dave says, I've always liked this movie. I think most of the hate was Ezra Miller and Hamada era DCU backlash. I don't judge it as a Flashpoint movie because it's only loosely inspired. Yeah, exactly. So here's the thing. And that's the thing about Robert and I when we approach these reviews. We'll tell you if a movie's hot garbage, like Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1984, but we'll still tell you when it does good stuff.
Although I still say Wonder Woman 1984 is just more disappointing than it is hot garbage.
It's not like Birds of Prey.
No, it's not. Birds of Prey is complete hot garbage, with like a few things, elements to like. Wonder Woman 84 was more just disappointing.
Yeah, exactly. So then you get like, so he solves the hospital. I do love the other cheeky reference. I don't know if you I don't know if this went over your head, Robert, when Barry goes, the Justice League does not, where he goes, if you're feeling trauma, please seek a mental health professional. The Justice League doesn't do mental health that well yet. I'm like, is that a reference to the movement?
Maybe.
And then we get Batman chasing down the bad guys. Now, I will say, yes, the Batsuit I do not like, but from a distance, it looks kind of cool with like the blue and gray and gold Batsuit, gold belt is the only good thing about this suit.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, it looks hard. It's because you know what it was also? Because it's the cowl that's CGI. And the reason why they did that is because they had the stunt driver and they wanted to put Batfleck's head on it. And I go,
why?
Yeah, it just looks too leathery.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're on the bridge. But I do like where Batman's in the Humvee. He beats up all the guys, and the driver just gets out because he's like, I'm not fighting Batman.
Yep.
And then the car goes off, and then it's one of those things where like, oh no, if the vial hits the water, it'll contaminate all of Gotham. And then a yellow rope shows up.
Yep.
And then we get the stupidest reference. My chief problem with this issue, the Wonder Bat scene. It was, hey, hi. And I go, that wasn't a thing in this entire universe. What are you doing?
Who knows?
Anyway, beyond that, this is the other thing that I don't like. It's the lasso of truth scenes are okay most of the time, but like where Barry touches it, he goes, I know what sex feels like, and I've never experienced it. I'm like, no, stop. Just stop.
Mm-hmm.
And then Wonder Woman leaves and Flash goes, and then we get the whole the good thing with this movie, Wonder Woman can fly. Well, she could in ZSJL as well.
Right.
That's where it was established, as a matter of fact. But so that's the other thing, and it's like, so then we get the crime lab scenes, which I liked a lot of. I liked how they definitely communicate that Barry's the fastest man alive, but he's always late for things because he's saving people. He has a reason to be late, but he can't tell his boss why.
Right.
That's the best part. And then, so the central issue of this movie, because pun intended central, is okay. So Barry's trying to prove his father didn't kill his mom, and that in this, Barry's father was not there at the house because he went to go buy a can of tomatoes at the food store. But Barry's trying to prove, is trying to see, can we catch his father on like CCTV that would like prove that he's there, and then he never looks up on the TV screen. So, and then Barry like goes to the house, and then he like talks to his father. His father gets disconnected. He runs really fast, as Flash stories normally go. And the other parts that I really liked, I liked how distorted it gets before it gets to the chrono ball. Like the part where like he starts like turning to liquid and going back. That was really cool. A lot of this weird stuff, this movie does really well.
Right. Just one sec.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the part about this. The weird stuff with the CGI, that's fine. That's the part where I'm like, okay, I kind of like this. Yeah, the weird stuff is fine. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. All right, so the chrono ball, all the figures look like PS1 cutscenes. Now, Robert, what's the one line of dialogue that would have explained this easily?
And you could have been 80 yard.
Yeah.
Boy, that looked really weird, like a bad video game.
Yeah, exactly. Because that was
one line on. You didn't have to, just have him come in and say that one line.
And the interesting thing, it's even in the Flash visual book about the movie that's what they were intending. But I'm like, okay, but you need to have Barry say that, because when Andy just comes out and says it, it sounds like he's just making an excuse for bad CGI. And I will say, and now the other thing that this does instantly that made me warmer on this movie. So it cuts to Barry talking to Bruce, and he goes, so you went back in time, like in Pizarrinov. This movie canonizes Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Yep.
And the rumor is, and this is from reliable sources, so I'm going to say this, that when Andy saw the Snyder cut, he liked it so much that he went back and added that stuff in there. Because that line is very, could easily be made in ADR, because you don't see Barry and Bruce say those lines.
Yep. Again, just a second.
Yeah.
Again, you could have brought him in then to say the CGI line.
Yeah, exactly. That's really simple. That would have 100% explained it. And then it's like, well, let me put it this way. It would have been easier to get and easier for people to grasp.
Yeah, but now, okay, but obviously time travel.
Yeah, that's what we get.
Let's just get the one clip out of the way, because we.
We could use that. Yay! Where is it? Time travel.
That's the one time we'll do it today, because otherwise we'll just abuse it.
Dave says the movie is so stylized and cartoonish to begin with, so the CGI doesn't bother me. It fits the tone. That was the way I was kind of now, there were some shots that don't look good, but you know what? It's like, it's one of those things where like it didn't take me that far out of the movie, so I'm like, okay, that's fine. But continuing on, it's like with so Barry has Iris over, and I'm not very like sure about this portrayal of Iris West. I think she was a little bit confrontational to Barry about his father.
Too much from the show, if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. But
like, so too much influence from the show, yeah.
And I loved the interaction with Bruce where Batman tells him there's nothing broken about you, Barry. These scars make us who we are. And then Bruce says, it's like, it made you who you are. And he goes, yeah, it also made me alone.
Yep.
This scene is where I think Ben was referring to when he says, I finally got it right.
Yep.
Like, that is 100% Bruce Wayne right there. And that's the other part I really loved. At least once he got out of the suit, they were like, yeah, that's Batman right there. And I love where the car drives away. And I was like, nice car. And he goes, oh, it was an Uber. Exactly.
Yeah.
So then what you get is Iris gives Barry the idea inadvertently to go back in time and just change one small detail without being seen. And then guess what? Then it's like you're not interacting with anyone. You're just changing it. So what happens is he goes back and puts a can of tomatoes in his mom's shopping cart so she didn't forget it. So, and then he goes back and then he sees like by the other thing that's really funny is that the other parts that canonize the Snyder cut is that you get the Jason Momoa pointing at Barry and then Barry going, "I'm so sorry." I love that part. But then the Chrono Ball starts like going back, and you're starting to see more of like Barry's mom in his life, and then you get this Black Flash character comes out.
No, there's gotta wait. There's no Reverse Flash, no Eobard Son in this.
No, exactly.
It's not the Black Flash either.
Eobard was supposed to be the villain, the original script of Flash.
The way it plays out, I am not against what they do, the way the story is going.
You mean the way it knocks him out of the Chrono Ball?
No. I'm talking about the way that the story behind the Dark Flash.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, I get it's not
once we find out what's going on, yeah.
Like this way, it's not comic accurate, but this is one of those things where it works for the story you're telling.
Exactly.
So Barry like flops out of the Chrono Ball and he thinks he's back in like his regular time, but then he looks out the window and sees another Barry.
Now let's make this clear. This is actually not timeline changing technically, it's more multiversal.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is the other part, and Dave brings up a good point. If ever there was a time for a Grant Gustin cameo,
my God, you know what I like to imagine? It happened just off screen in between him flying through the Chrono Ball at some point.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
No, I'm talking about the crossover in the Flash.
Yeah, but like this way, instead of having two Ezras, you could have just had Grant. I mean, I know it would have canonized this on the CW Earth, or just because in the original Flashpoint comics, it's not like there's another Barry.
Nope, he took over him.
Yeah, exactly. And Eobard is a must for a Flash story. Not necessarily. You don't have to have Eobard for a Flash story.
You don't have to. You have to have Saboteur. You could have had Black Flash.
And Pika says not multiverse hyper time. We're using the phrasing the movie gave Pika. We know it's technically hyper time, but to explain that to the difference between hyper time and the multiverse to the general audience, they will literally say, "So it's just the multiverse."
Exactly. That's one of the reasons why I more look about what makes sense for the audience compared to if it's being faithful.
Exactly. So I'm like, okay, that works. So and this Barry was very annoying, but it was technically he was supposed to be because that's like Barry before he had responsibilities.
Where he never had any.
I do love where modern Barry goes, "So that's what people are talking about when they say I'm annoying." I love that. I love that very much. Eobard is his joke. No, but there have been great Flash stories, NJ, that don't involve Eobard.
Eobard was dead for the longest time.
Yeah.
Besides Return of Barry Allen, between his death pre-crisis, the end of pre-crisis, all the way up to Hunter Zolomon, there had never been a Reverse Flash.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
or Zoom or whatever.
Again, NJ, you're not wrong. But we're just saying not every story needs to include, like, not every Batman story involves the Joker.
Yeah, I just want to point that out. Yeah, that's why I want to point out that there's like you got the Rogues.
Yeah, exactly. And Parker will get to that at the end. But so it's the idea that like Barry showed up and this Flash, Barry still thinks he's in the past. Want to be clear on that. So
for good reason.
Yeah, exactly. So he arrives on the day where he originally got his powers. And honestly, here's the cool thing about this movie. It explains the origin of the Flash actually really well, because obviously we didn't get a Flash origin movie, but it's like, let's speed run. Here's what the origin is. He's in the lab and all that. Speed run. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you said, I'm like, ha.
Yeah. And we got to visualize him vibrating through a wall, and the way that it showed like individual molecules moving, that was also really cool. It's like visually they showed us stuff that I've never seen before in a Flash movie. Well, so that's why I'm like, okay, that's actually really clever. That's actually really cool. So then they do the origin, except the way the lightning goes through our Barry and hits past Barry, and then Barry's powers transferred to past Barry. This is gonna get really confusing.
I just say alternate Barry. Just say alternate Barry.
The Flash powers transfer into alternate Barry, and then they like escape. And I love how they have like our Barry does the run, but because there's no Speed Force, it looks stupid. And
Right.
he goes, "What? By the way, about the run, you know what that actually was? Because
And Parker, we're going to get to that.
yeah,
We're going over that. We're going over it.
everyone makes fun of the running. Do you know why Barry runs like that?
Why?
It's supposed to emulate speed skating.
You know what? I had a feeling it was something like that.
Yeah, and you know, that's again, it's like one of those things where I'm like, okay, I actually really, it's like, because running like this kind of looks stupid on the big screen. It kind of in the flash, so it's like this. I get it. Yeah, it looks odd, but it's like when you get the because Flash, you could technically say he's skating on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So. So essentially we get the Barry
speed skating, Cameron. Speed skating. And then you go.
Yeah, exactly. CW Flash's running was actually good and more like the comics. It depends on the writer. I mean, it depends on the artist, is what I mean, because other artists have actually drawn it like that. But to be clear, so we get the whole other Barry being irresponsible with his powers, and then he gets like
which is standard for people gaining power. They're going to be irresponsible.
It kind of shows, you know what this kind of is? This is probably what regular Barry was like when he first got his powers.
Before BVS.
Before Man of Steel.
Oh yeah.
Because here's what this movie does.
I'm saying before we saw him in BVS, what I meant.
Yeah, exactly. Now, here's a cool thing about this movie that I really, really dig. It's when you actually have like so Zod shows, he arrives not only on the day that Barry first got his powers, but also the day that Zod showed you are not alone and stuff. It's like we're coming for the Kryptonian. So he figures we need to get Superman. But in this, they retell that Barry was there trying to save people during the Black Zero incident, which I like as well. It really expands the universe and stuff.
It does. Now, here's the big thing, though. Unlike the comic where young Bruce Wayne died.
Oh, yeah.
Who died in this world instead?
Alfred.
Young Cal.
Oh, yeah.
Baby Cal died here.
Yeah, and we'll get to that later, but yeah. So
that's a big thing. That's a big difference.
That's a huge difference. So then you get to so then Barry and other Barry Google and trying to find the other superheroes, but but on this Earth, the other Leaguers never like existed. Like Cyborg did not have his accident. Diana never left the island. Arthur was never born. By Tamara Morrison cameo, I did not see that coming when I walked into the movie. I'm like, okay, that works. So then we know that Batman exists in this universe. But he's retired and Gotham is the safest it's ever been.
Well, not just that.
And it's Michael Keaton Batman from 1989. And I like that. DC Life brings up a good point. The Supergirl and Batgirl taking over did not help this movie. I will give him that.
That did not help at all.
I will give him that.
Now, I'll say this, though. I still want to see how that ending scene would have gone.
The ending scene, well, here's the thing. There were multiple ending scenes, and we'll get into that also at the end of the movie. So then what happens is they show up at Batman's thing, and I love where he goes, I didn't know you painted. They're good. And then they fight Michael Keaton Batman. And he goes, wait. You're not.
Yeah, I'm Batman.
Yeah, exactly. And then Batman explains the multiverse theory, which I got to be honest, Batman understanding the multiverse again, that's believable.
Yep, it is.
I'm like, okay, but even as a theoretical concept, I get that like Batman would like at least have read about it.
Yep.
So he explains essentially hyper time, but in this movie they're calling it the multiverse.
Yeah, basically.
I'm like, okay. And even in this, they have the multiverse as well. I think they treat them as two of the as the same thing, but like the way Keaton explains it is actually hyper time.
Yep, basically.
Yeah. So they show up in the Batcave and they're trying to find Superman, and they're in the Batcave, and yeah, it's the 89 Batcave, complete with the really weird drop in the middle, like right where the Batmobile ends.
Right.
And so Batman, so essentially, you find out there was an Alfred in this universe, and then
they have it beat. Of course, he died when God died, which I appreciate that.
Yeah, exactly. And then we see all the different bat suits in the back. Like they have a blue and gray one. They have a nightmare looking one. And then they have all of the 89 suits. And then they have the new bat suit there. And then he goes, yeah, I'll help you find Superman, but then I'm done.
Which, that's fine.
So they go to the Russian prison. And again, this is straight out of Flashpoint, pretty much. Like a Batman. The only thing that's missing is Cyborg. But again, he doesn't exist in this universe. So there you go. But so they get to the pod, and it turns out Kara showed up on Earth, not Cal.
How they remind me? Did they go into much explanation about it?
No, they don't. It's like she got to Earth and Cal did not. We'll explain what happened to Cal later.
Well, yeah.
So then, that's the thing, and they save her and get her out. And one of the things that I really love about this is they also go into physically why Barry's so slow when he moves people, because when alternate Barry moves them, he starts throwing up. That's the fight. I love Keaton's Batman. Yeah, not to mention the guy was manhandling Kryptonians at 70 years old. We'll talk about this. But I do love where we first see him and actually goes, this might hurt.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Pika says that Sasha Kai would have been a good Element woman who was also in Flashpoint. The animated movie cut her out.
Yep, she could have.
I could give you that. I'll give you that. But
she could have done a good job.
I liked her as Kara. That's the other thing. Everyone has critiques about this movie. Most of the people I talk about love Supergirl in this movie. And that was honestly really well done. I really dug that.
Yep.
So then what you get is now this is the other visual thing that we've never seen that I love. So obviously she's not in the sun. So what happens is I don't like his or any form bad for the Flash. Okay, that's fair enough. But like I said before, it's basically speed skating, which the Flash would also do. But so then what you get is, so obviously she's like emaciated because she hasn't been in the sun. When she gets in there, her body starts to kind of fill out a little more because the sun. That as soon as I saw that, I was like, that is really cool.
And also kind of explains what's been going on in Supergirl.
Yeah, I'm like, that is actually really
the recent book, I mean.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, because I've never seen that visualized in a movie.
It's not usually done that way.
Well, even in the Flashpoint movie, in the animated movie, they didn't do that. He stays skinny.
Exactly.
So I'm like, okay.
He had the strength, but he stayed skinny.
And then obviously they rescue and return to Wayne Manor. You see Batman, he's like stitching up his arm, but you can see in his mind he missed being Batman.
Yep.
So I love that. That's why
it's something where you wonder, like, oh, if things had gone better, he probably would have continued on.
And you know what's funny? It reminds me a lot of Batman Ego, where it's like that one part of Batman, the Batman part of Bruce Wayne's psyche is like, you'll never really be free of me. Yeah, and then Dave says, if the Snyderverse returns, I hope she arrives on Earth and joins the League. They could, if they were to continue on with like Man of Steel, like let's say the Saudis want the Snyderverse to come back and they do that. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Kara, and you also see Kara at first. She's very suspicious of humans, as what you would expect,
right?
And then she goes, she basically says, I'm not like supposed to protect us. I'm a Kryptonian. And then she flies away. And then we get the scene when Zod shows up and demands Kal-El. And then it starts a battle in the desert. This is the other part that I really didn't like about this movie, because they had an extreme reaction to like the Man of Steel fight, but it was so extreme that there's no stakes in fighting in an empty field.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm sorry, that doesn't work. But anyway, beyond that, Kara comes back, and so they do the Flashpoint thing where they want to recreate the accident to give OG Barry his powers. And so they do the whole lightning thing. It doesn't work at first, but I like this. Kara comes back and brings him up into the sky. It's so well done. And that's how he gets struck by lightning. I'm like, I like this a lot. That was really well done. And then obviously the powers return, and then alternate Barry turns a bat suit into a flash suit. And I love where he can't turn his neck.
Yep. Because they never fixed that. They never fixed that until the Dark Knight.
Until Dark Knight, yeah, exactly, the Dark Knight.
That was the first time where they finally fixed it.
And then I love where Kara and Barry are talking, and then she goes, "Kryptonians are not like Zod and stuff. We're supposed to," and she goes, "Do you know what this symbol means? It's hope, right?" And he goes, and then essentially like the Justice League assembles essentially with like alternate Batman. They fly to the desert to fight, and I like where they're about to deploy. Other Barry puts on the cowl. He turns his head, and like it's all smushed because it can't turn. And then you get the actual fight scene where Kara goes to fight Zod, and this is where you find out what happened to Kal-El. So the Codex thing happens, but the Codex is in Kara, not Kal in this universe. And when he found out about this, Zod kills Superman. So I'm like, so there is no Kal-El, and I love the buildup of rage in Supergirl's eyes, and you see them turn red, and then she like blasts Zod, and then you get the fight. And
now here's the thing: these guys are totally ill prepared for this.
For what?
For dealing with Zod.
Oh,
that's the whole point.
Yeah, exactly. This is what happened. This is what would have happened if Superman did not come forward.
Yep.
Because they're getting their asses kicked, and then what happens is, let's see what else. So then the fight happens, and then there's like, I liked all the lightning effects and stuff, and so this is establishing that no matter what they do, there's like, it's essentially a constant. It's like, for lack of a better term, for to use Spider-Verse terminology, it's an anchor point.
Yeah, it shouldn't be though. That's the worst part. It shouldn't be.
Well, it's like in this timeline, its destiny is that Zod takes over. So I'm like, okay, I really dig that. I really dig that.
Superman is the only one to stop him.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so other Barry keeps going back in time and screwing up, and then he gets more like stuff embedded in him, like that arm blade thing.
Because it is a Barry who never matured as the Flash. He's completely immature.
Yeah, he goes, I can undo everything.
I can save him.
Fix everything. I am the Flash. And you have that evil thing. Then he goes, and then Black Flash emerges. The face gets knocked off. And then it's future alternate Barry because he keeps going back in time trying to fix this, but it never works. He can't. The whole point of this movie is you have to learn to let go.
Yep.
And then the constant time traveling causes the other worlds to come together. Now, I know people had issues with the George Reeves one because no one could like sign off on it because of like, he didn't have any family. And he also hated Superman because that like hurt his career.
From what I heard, some of the actors who worked with him, who worked on Superman, argue that. Many of them said, when like the guy who played Jimmy said, the only bad thing he ever heard from George was an actor who was supposed to play before him died, and that's how George got the role, and he always felt bad about that.
Okay, it's like, but it's like other Superman documentaries try and like paint it that way. But okay, assuming that, but it's like, and then you get the Adam West Batman thing. But I will say the cool part is that we got a visualization of Nicolas Cage as Superman.
That wasn't the one he shot. That wasn't what he shot.
For what I heard, it did shoot it, but they turned it CGI.
No. Originally, he did shoot something. But it was him just staring at a dead world.
Okay. That's interesting. But yeah, it's like, then why did I guarantee you they filmed it just for reference, and then it was like, yeah, we'll just kind of do this. And then we get the part that pissed everyone off. It's Christopher Reeve, Superman, showing up in this.
With Helen Slater, Supergirl.
Now, I will say, from what I heard, the Reeve family did sign off on it.
All right.
And it's to establish that, like, okay, that's because it's always been like back and forth on if that Supergirl movie was in the Reeves universe. It is.
They had his name Jimmy.
Yeah, exactly.
They just could not get Chris to do it.
Now, again, this is another occasion when having a line where they say everything looks so weird in this universe. It's like, that would have been the other thing that
you're looking
another opportunity.
Here's what I look at. You're looking at it through a filter.
Yeah, if they explained that, people were pissed off because they felt it was disrespectful that Reeve came back as like a CGI puppet.
Right? How else
But
are you gonna
still,
do it?
The way I would have done, the way they could have done it is like have like cracks in the multiverse, and then through them you see like clips from the other movies.
Well, that too, but I think they wanted to do something more unique.
Yeah, exactly. And I get it. It wasn't anything that like I took offense to. So, but it's like I understand why some people didn't like it. Why was the Reeves thing forced, Tevia? Well, it's because what big cameo of DC do you really think that if they were doing all these cameos, they weren't going to do that?
Agreed.
But actually, DC Live brings up a good point. For what I heard, they tried to get Linda Carter Wonder Woman to do something.
Probably couldn't fit it in.
Okay, so basically the point of this is to show that like they're constantly screwing with the timeline is causing incursions. Basically, it's causing incursions. That's what that is. That's kind of, to use a Marvel term, that's what it is. It's incursions. So Barry has to let go. Now what you get here is that, okay, this is gonna get really complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Past Barry,
alternate Barry,
Black Flash, alternate Barry goes to stab our Barry, but past alternate Barry takes the stab, and that essentially kills both. And then Barry
cancel each other out, in other words.
And then Barry has to go back in time and like undo his like saving his mother. And I will say, emotionally, this scene hit me because it's like, it hit me more than the Flashpoint comic and movie did, because it's like, this is Barry actually like doing that type of goodbye and actually actively doing something he knows is going to result in his mom getting killed.
Right. The match the comics emotional scene, no, but it comes pretty close.
Yeah, and then what we find out what he also does is he rearranges the shelf so the tomato sauce is like on the top shelf, so his father would look up, and that would lead to like him getting off. And then the movie ends with a phone call from
because he made that little change.
Yeah, because he made that little change. He didn't actually go back to his Earth. He went to the Batman and Robin universe, which is still the Keaton universe, but still.
Nope. That has been confirmed now. They are separate.
Okay. Now, here's the interesting thing about this. This is where the alternate endings were supposed to be. One of them would have had Keaton show up and Sasha show up, and they remember everything. So this is still like timeline change. The other ending would have been Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill show up to congratulate Barry, and then Superman meets Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have had that. And so that was like the other ending that like.
And this is the only thing Gunn tweaked, and it was more to end it on a gag.
Yeah, which arguably that really hurt the movie even more.
I didn't mind Clooney. I did not mind it.
I'm like, okay, you could have,
Yeah,
but,
you have Affleck, you have Keaton, and you have Clooney. 3 Batman in one movie. All we needed was Kilmer, and it would have been perfect.
Yeah, and then Cameron reportedly. Okay, so then we get to the post-credit scene, Cameron, because he's talking to Jason Momoa's Aquaman. Now, my theory is that off-screen he got back to his Earth because he's talking about there were all these different versions of you and me and stuff.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think he made it back.
I think he made it back to the regular universe. I wish we were.
I
wish that too.
But,
I wish that too.
Yeah, I agree. But I gotta say again, I didn't mind the Clooney thing.
Yeah, it's like, all right. But
the other thing is, Clooney you could buy still. By this point, Kilmer does not look like what he did back then before he passed.
Yeah. Now, okay, so let's talk about this movie in general now. Because here's the thing about this movie. Again, with the amount of creative changes and rewrites, this movie was not going to come off totally scot-free.
Oh, hell no.
No,
not even he could have gotten out of it.
Yeah, and MJ.
Did you get what I said? What did you just say? Didn't get off scot-free? I just said, not even he could have gotten out of it.
Yeah, I like that one. Good one. That's a good one. Could we have gotten Linda Carter's Wonder Woman? Well, here's the thing also. They also considered going to Christian Bale's Batman.
He said no.
He said no. He said, because here's the thing also, that Batman works more as like a separate thing. Reshooting Amy Clooney is my only major complaint with the movie. It wrecked the potential emotional coda. I mean, yeah, I can give you that. the right way to end this movie would have been to reunite all the available Justice Gadgets at one time, zoom out on the DCU into the multiverse, and zoom in on James Gunn.
But they didn't have a James Gunn DCU yet. And
no, they hadn't even established it yet. Like, it was still in the ideation phase. It's like you were that they had the universe all like figured out at this point.
And Blue Beetle is still was still considered part of the DCEU originally.
Yeah, exactly. Ezra also hurt the movie, especially.
Yeah,
that definitely hurt.
That hurt a lot.
That's why if the Snyderverse ever came back, there's no way Ezra would be invited back. That'd be the one thing that like WB would be like, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then DC Life says just at least show clips of the different Wonder Womans and Batman. Yeah, that's the other way to do it. The way that this movie could have reset the DC universe, as James said it would have. Well, here's the thing: it's better this way because it doesn't like wipe out another universe. Like, let's say Flashpoint did to Post Crisis. All it did was say, "Okay, there's a multiverse. We're moving to another Earth." That's all it had to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This movie was probably doomed to be a mess. Yes, it was. 100% it was.
I get that. That's why I feel bad for Andy.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Andy got
screwed.
And then it happened during Andy's tenure that Ezra was doing that all this BS with Ezra was coming up. So I'm like, the guy could not catch a break with this damn movie.
Right.
But it's like that's the issue there. It's like that's why I'm with Robert on this. It's like this way. Short of the Affleck scenes, it's like the Keaton scenes were pretty cool when he did Batman.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I feel he will do good for the upcoming movie.
Now, if he completely drops the ball, then you can blame him.
Yeah, exactly.
Because again, you can't. There'll be no way that you would have been able to like. You can't explain it then. And then it was also this movie that W decided to Flash the failed IP. Well, yeah, that too with the Flash game. It would have been great if they had an animated scene of Barry passing through DCAU. That would have been funny. It has also failed because the timing of Gunn's announcement made the movie unnecessary. Well, that was more Shazam too. This one I think could have been necessary because of like the reboot
by that point.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the like point there. But as you hear that, like they explained like what was gonna be the story of the MCU under Kang.
What?
The original writers came out and was talking about like basically what the story would have kind of looked like. What the original plan was, and it involved the Young Avengers kind of defeating Kang.
Oh God, that's what everyone was fearing.
Yeah, it would have been that. I'm like,
everyone was fearing that was going to happen.
Unless I'm misinterpreting that, but yeah, it's like yes. I'm glad this got played. Maybe this could have been just me, but this movie should at least try to adapt Flashpoint. Again, they
given the circumstances, they did what they could.
Because if they could have rewritten the movie, and because here's the thing, they couldn't rewrite the movie again.
They couldn't. By that point, they had got locked in. It was like close enough.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like it's again. But wait. But Normie, why would they bother if it's just to get rebooted? Oh, but to normies, why would they bother if it's just going to get rebooted? Well, because here's the thing. They wanted to tell it as one story of the universe being rebooted. That's why this one movie, it's like that was more of like Shazam that like screwed it.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I would have liked a 1-for-1, but I do hope they pull off another Flashpoint. They pull off another Flashpoint movie. Yeah, because here's the thing. The Flash has other great stories beyond Flashpoint. Can we stop pretending like Flash's only good story is Flashpoint?
Right.
Hunter Zolman, aka Zoom, is a Wally villain, so they could have used him if they wanted to. Yeah,
they didn't Wally. This is Barry.
Yeah, so basically, it was a lose-lose situation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
To us nerds, it matters, but to normies, it just doesn't. Well, again, at DC Life, as I said, they couldn't cancel this movie because too much money had been spent on it. I guarantee you, if Zaslav could have, he would have crashed this film.
Basically, they reached the point of no return. It's like some movies you can cancel and take a loss. But because here's the other thing. It's like what happened with Man of Steel. People don't realize this. It took it wasn't just the movie's production budget. It was also the budget of all the failed attempts between Superman Returns and Man of Steel.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they do it. They treat it all as in one big production.
Yeah, unpopular opinion, but overall, I like this more than Deadpool and Wolverine on par with Spider-Man No Way Home. That's quite a hot take. But
it is a hot take.
Okay.
I actually liked Heavy's idea.
I personally would have loved Rogue War to be adapted into Flash. That's what the original movie was going to be. It was going to be a team up between Flash and Cyborg fighting the Rogues. And then the stinger would have been the ending, would have hinted at Reverse Flash being there. He wouldn't have been like the main villain, but that would have been the post-credit scene.
Right.
That's the way to do it. But yeah, it's like with the Flash, it's like, again, people try to.
It's not as big of a disappointment as Wonder Woman was, but it's still a disappointment.
It still is, definitely. But it's like when you take into account all of the stuff that came out before, like all of the BS that happened throughout this movie's production.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle it came out at all. Let me put it to you that way. Because at some point they could have just shelved it.
Exactly. They could have. Probably should have.
Probably should have. I'll give you that. Probably should have.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like for the conditions it came out under, not like horrible.
It had more stats against it than Wonder Woman 84 did.
Yeah, and again, it canonized the Snyder Cut. So I'm going to tell you that right there. I think the reason people say Flash was his biggest story.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. That would do it.
Yeah, that's why.
Because he's had some good stories, but I mean, the only other one I can think of is like Flash War, maybe. Mm-hmm. But again, it's the problem you have with trying to adapt, say, Sinestro Corp War too early. The Sinestro Corp War, for it to be effective, you need a lot of lore.
Or Dark Phoenix.
That's another big one that they keep trying to adapt.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not against adapting Dark Phoenix. You just can't do it too early.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they can't because they already declared Batgirl as a loss. They cannot. But I'm saying they could have.
They could have, but there was too much.
You can't tell me Zaslav would not have at least tried.
Yeah, but they had too much money invested already. There wasn't as much money invested in the Batgirl by comparison for it to be we have to make some money back.
Yeah, exactly. The trial of Barry Allen could have been a good story. Yeah,
again, you need to build up to that a little bit. That would have been like a second movie. You could have done the original, the first time Barry met the Rogues. That's what you could have done. Yep.
That's it. That's what you could have done. But again, when you deal with like everything that was going on with the DCEU, it's a miracle this movie came out of all.
Yep. And it didn't come out worse.
Yeah, but DCLF, do you really think that Zaslav cared about that part particularly?
Wait a minute.
About it being, it would have looked bad to have 2 losses in a row?
No, I don't think he would have cared.
Hey, let me put it this way. He took a hit with the Batgirl thing.
And remember, he already took a hit with that and Coyote versus Acme.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like he wouldn't have cared because as Zaslav has said, it's show business, not show friends. He would have just done it anyway.
Oh yeah, I think with Pika. Even the Rogues, they made Captain Cold a good guy way too early.
Yeah, and I will say the best portrayal of Captain Cold I've ever seen, like page to screen.
It's a version. I will give it.
Mm-hmm. It's over. I respected him for the Batgirl risk, but yeah, I'll give you that. But like overall, it's like, is this movie a movie that like I'll rewatch every now and then to like have fun? Yeah, I would say so. It's fun.
Yeah, but I would still say Shazam: Fury of the Gods is still better than this.
And then Cameron says, "Okay, let's be honest. Would Batgirl have gotten them the money from the General Alliance like they wanted? No. Here's the thing. No. Here's the thing. If it had come out the right time, because they were coming out with I'm on record on this channel as saying this, but around the time that got canceled, I was like, there shouldn't have been a Batgirl movie without having a Batman movie first to establish the Batman of this universe.
Yep. That's one reason why they went with the Keaton one.
Yeah, but but here's the thing: we don't know if the events of an '89 are canon to this universe. It could just be like the Batmobile and Keaton and stuff.
That's true.
So it's like, it's like, again, it's a shame the Batgirl movie didn't have a Flash of Cyber would have been a better way to properly develop it. No, I know that, and I agree with you, DC Live. But I'm saying in the position that they're in now, that's why I'm like, okay, I respect what they made for like under the conditions that they made it. Let me put it to you that way. That's what I'll put it. So Robert, how do you rate the Flash out of 10?
6.
I'll give it a 6.
Anywhere between a 5 and a 6.
Yeah, I'll give it that. Could have been much better.
It could have been a whole lot worse.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And again, I'll be honest. I did not mind the stuff at the end with the CGI actor. I especially felt like with Andy when he was probably making it. It was a good tribute.
But if they had explained the CGI part, if they explained,
agree that part, yes. But I'm just saying, like seeing Nicolas Cage, I was like, hey.
Yeah, I'm like, all right.
Apparently, Tim Burton didn't like it, but Tim Burton's the type who feels like that should have been just his version only.
Yeah, I got it. So, Barry, So next week's, and then Dave rates as an 8.5 out of 10. Oh wow. But you know what? I respect that. I respect the hell out of that. Mm-hmm. So next week's movie night, by the way, is Blue Beetle.
Yep, it's our penultimate.
It's our penultimate movie, exactly. The last two DCU movies are probably going to be high out of 10. So let me put it that way, because those were fun.
Yep, they were definitely fun.
That will give it that. Tavia gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Okay, that's fine.
That's 2 out of 5. All right.
Yeah, but and it's like it's what the cameos didn't bother me. The CGI of the Speed Force did. Yeah, exactly. If they had explained that part, like again, throwaway line ADR, you don't even have to have Barry be facing. He's like, or no, you didn't even have to say it looks like PS4 game. He's like, he could just said, why does everything look so weird? That's it. That's all you needed.
Yeah. Again, you just added that one line thing. This looks weird.
And then that is literally it. But it's like
they probably thought people wouldn't accept it.
Or they probably thought people will get it.
Or more likely, they probably thought it wasn't until like they probably realized days before release. Crap.
And probably Ezra could not be back in the sound booth to record stuff.
Not by that, but way too last second. I bet you these graphics look like way too last second. And again, that's one thing I get.
Real quick, I'm going to push back on DC Live. It's not a bad CGI team, because what you have to realize that a lot of these shots, they didn't have a lot of time to work on them.
That's one thing I give props for Gunn.
Yeah, no, the CGI was done, the filming was done, and like on to post-production a year before the movie came out.
Yeah, and that's more time than Fantastic Four got. Look what Fantastic Four had to cut because of it.
Yeah, again, it's not the bad CGI team, it's the conditions that VFX artists were placed under.
Yeah, you cannot CGI. That's why what people think it's not a miracle, miracle thing.
Yeah, it's not that simple. Let me put it to you that way.
It's not like, boom, hey, it's the greatest. Must have been bad people working. No, you need time.
And here's the thing also, it's like the people that work on Marvel movies say this, is that oftentimes with Marvel movies, he's just joking around. Okay, that's fine. But it's like oftentimes with like Marvel movies, you have like, they'll complete a shot and then Marvel will show up like a week before the movie's supposed to come out and go, you have to change this shot.
Oh, that's one thing I'm not liking about movies. Now we have digital movies. Now you can technically patch movies.
That's why I have a physical copy of the Snyder Cut, my brother.
No, I'm talking about theatrical release. You can patch it in the middle of a theatrical release. They did that with Cats, remember? They patched that movie up.
Why do you have to remind me about that movie?
I never watched it, so I don't have the nightmares.
You mean Cheetah in Wonder Woman 1984? Fun fact, that's where Barbara Minerva went next. After that, she became a cat performer. She actually started her own website called Only Cats.
Oh. A little overboard on that one, dude.
I had to. Yeah. That's why I have physical copies of most of the movies I love, because guess what? I don't trust that. Like, either they're gonna tank it, like take it off the streaming service, or start like fixing the movie.
I'm never in theaters. They actually start patching movies,
and that's just stupid. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah, why did they release it off as a complete shit show and say, "Oh, we'll patch it in as the run is going"?
The only time like patching a movie afterwards on a digital release was good was like adding the Predator scene at the end of Killer of Killers.
Yeah, that one, because my guess is the rights didn't get through all the way by the time of the release.
Yeah, exactly. And NJ says, for me, Wonder Woman and 1984 is better than this. Okay, that's fine.
I'll say quickly. Because you know why I say that? Because that was too quick for that to come out. I'm positive that was getting the rights from Arnold and Glover, because that was clearly pre-made.
Yeah, exactly. It just came out. It was good. Oh, there was a hashtag to release the butthole cut of Cats.
That's what they edited out.
There's a hashtag to release everything nowadays.
Unfortunately.
And you get King of Wonder Woman. Just saying. But yeah, yeah, exactly. But overall, it's like it was a moderately enjoyable movie. It was tolerable.
Yeah. I keep saying Shazam was better.
Shazam was way better. Yeah.
We're going to get to the ones that were higher up in quality than the next two. We're going to end on a high note.
Yeah, and that's why I say, of the last batch of DCEU movies, this was the weakest one.
Yes.
Black Adam is more enjoyable than this one. I would say Black Adam is a better movie.
Arguable.
I'm going to say that. But yeah, so Blue Beetle is next week. Again, I'm excited because I really like that. I really enjoyed that movie. And then we end on Aquaman, which was freaking amazing. I love that movie. But yeah, so I think that's a good place to leave it. So Robert, let everyone know what you got coming out, brother.
Got links down below. Check them out. I'm back home. I'm going to chill out for a little bit, but eventually I will. I got to figure out what time to be doing it, but I will be getting back to game streaming at some point. Jared, we got to talk about something after we're done, by the way, so we'll get to that.
And again, I want to reiterate, Superpowers on Tuesday is going to be at 10:30 p.m.
Actually, that's what I want to talk about. This Tuesday will be an exception.
Okay. With the exception of this Tuesday, the Superpowers are going to be 10:30 p.m. because of Robert's work schedule. It's all good. Yeah. So it's like
I'll just say what I was going to say then. Work told me just this week I'll be doing early shifts because they want to get my training.
Okay. Well, okay.
So I'll be 7 to 3 instead.
All right. Hey, that's that's my work schedule, bro. There you go. But yeah, so be on the lookout for that. And then in terms of like Comics League, and then I'll play the Athena trail at the end of all this. But for Under Two Capes, we're going to be talking about why does Marvel hate Spider-Man so much?
Good question.
There's a lot of good questions on that. Again, Blue Beetle for Movie Night. Britt and I are going to put Super Wonder on on this side of the Mortal Kombat and like DCKO and stuff. And let's see what else. That's about all I have planned so far. But yeah, obviously I'll announce stuff as we go on. But yeah, so be sure to back Athena. I'll play the trailer and then we'll play the outro. Stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod. So it's the Max About for life. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sintragar, Athena, the goddess of thunder, and this is my story.
All right.
It's on on me, yeah.
Change of plans. This week, we're going to compare Heroes in Crisis to Identity Crisis.
It's
two stories that have a very similar idea.
Similar tone. I would say similar tone.
Similar tone.
Idea.
Then next week we're gonna do the Spider-Man topic.
That's what I saw. Because it just dawned on me. Wait, did we have? Did it dawn on me what it was? But yeah, Justice Tuesday. As far as I know, Justice Tuesday. It'll be 7 to 3. We're gonna be playing it by ear going forward. It seems with this job.
Yeah, we'll see. And obviously, we'll update you guys as we go. Anyway, stay at work, everyone. And we will see you later. Bye-bye.